Let's move on to the next question, and this is one for Robbie as well, because why not? AFC Football _ says, who's your ideal replacement for Wenger when he leaves?
Better Martins.
They'd have had him 2 years ago.
Some lad wanted them last week. On the videos.
Is he on
track? That was crazy.
On the fan cam.
I think he was on the Sackos.
He was on the Sackos.
For me personally, I'd like Joachim Low, who's the German manager. I think he'd be perfect replacement for Arsene Wenger. And if you wanted to go like a completely different style, Diego Simeone, one of those two for me.
Diego Simeone, because I was thinking about this about Arsenal, is that when you play a good brand of football, how do you then kick that on? Because when you look at Everton as an example of the Moyes, you were very compact, very solid defensively and what have you. Martinez could come in and build from that, albeit in the short term. You know, we basically just let the shackles go and play a load of good footy. It's very difficult to be a really good footballing side and to move on from that.
But I think,
unless you get physical, I think Simeone
but I think a good manager knows when to blend the two, and that's where you find out poorer managers when they just go, well, actually, I mean, that looks like it's all right, but we're doing exactly what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? I think a good manager could come in. I think both of those managers you mentioned could do exactly that. I think they've got philosophies, but they'd come in and go, well, actually, there's no point ripping it all up and starting again. We can blend the mix. And I think those two could actually.
And also, one of the reasons why I mentioned those two is I just think that whoever comes in next, it's got to be a big character. It's got to be a big. Because I just always look at Man United and all the, you know, when Moyes came in, he was really under the shadow of Fergie. One? Yeah, but he was under the, you know, as I said, every time you used to see a game in Man United and anything was going wrong, they pan immediately to the crowd trying to find Fergie, get an express, because he's such a big figure at the club, and it'd be the same with Wenger when he goes. So it's got to be.
You need to go big. You don't go from having someone like Wenger for as long as you've had him to doing to getting a Moyes or whatever. I think you need to go and find who's the best possible manager available in world football and go bang. There
and I also think like there's a lot of people suggest things like, oh, Wenger should go upstairs, and then I think that'd be a terrible idea as well, because again, him being around the club, I think any time
you live in a bungalow.
That always gets said, but it's like, what are you actually talking about?
Well, it's more or less still being a part of the club, isn't it?
It's like breaking up with someone and staying friends.
Yeah, Ferguson's gone upstairs, and all he ever does is go horse racing. So what, you know what I mean?
But the thing is, I just feel that if Wenger did go so-called upstairs, that his presence is still gonna be there. Whoever comes in, they need to have the chance to do it their way.
Yeah. There's absolutely no suggestion that Wenger's going to leave the club. I know all the fans want it, but your fans are a little bit confused about.
Well, let's just point of the when.
All right, so in 2 or 3 years, when he decides to leave, then maybe that would be when. Right? What gets me about all this stuff is that you guys are fourth in the league. There are very few managers that will be able to come in and do better than Wenger does every season. But I think that there's this misconception that a new manager will fix all your problems. A new manager is more likely to create more problems.
I think the thing is, right, is that you've got a manager that's been there for a very, very long time. He's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think at Arsenal, you know, I don't know if it's going to happen this year, but there needs to be some planning now for the succession, whoever takes over from them. And I think, you know, if they're not doing that at the moment at the club, then they're not doing the job properly. They need to start planning for whoever's.
I think that's a really interesting point what you just said there, because if you think about the way Barcelona do things, and almost the way Real Madrid did do things as well, there is that idea that you do get someone ready. And that's the thing about Arsenal, you think there would be someone in the background, you know, an ex-player. Look at someone you look at Ajax as well, the way they do it as well. The cogs are always churning. As soon as someone finishes his career, he goes into the youth academy and starts getting trained up to be that first team manager. It doesn't happen much over here, but you would think a manager like Arsene Wenger would have that plan in place, but clearly there isn't anyone there. And he is that kind of...
Thierry around the club now. Dennis Bergkamp's over at Ajax, sort of learning his trade. So but I just think that
Alan Smith.
I think bigger. You're going to need bigger names than even them.
I don't think Alan Smith would pack in EA comments.
Me, I'm not a sentimental guy. I'm about whoever's going to be the best for the job.
And I think that's the thing. Is that's the massive step. And hopefully, I say again, hopefully for you more than anything else, almost look at the mistakes Man United have made and go, well, at least there's a template for how not to do it. But it's going to be an interesting one either way. Thanks very much for the question, by the way.